of Bob Katter's stoush with a reporter. I cut through the spin. Just what is going on behind the scenes of a current affair as another scandal rocks the show? And why are so many people suddenly leaving Channel 10? All that and plenty more. Welcome to episode 8 of Media McKnight. With over 30 years' experience in the world of media, I'm Rob McKnight. Welcome to Media McKnight. Now, if you saw those bizarre scenes play out in Brisbane last week when Bob Katter started threatening a journalist, you might be wondering why there hasn't been more outrage at his behaviour. Now, while both Katter and his son Robbie have been doing the rounds talking down the fracas, I thought it would be worth putting their claims to the test. On Thursday, the Katters held a press conference to talk about their support of the March for Australia protests. The drama unfolded when Nine News reporter Josh Bavas started asking what would appear to be, to me at least, an inoffensive question.
Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself.
Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have, on many occasions, punch blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today. Don't say that.
I'm sure that
Don't
you said it.
say that, because you're a racist. You're a racist. You cannot say what you've just said without being identified as a racist. Some gentlemen, ladies, this man is a racist.
Bob, doesn't he have the freedom to ask a question as a journalist?
No, he doesn't if he asks a racist question, which implies racism. I'm not going to answer it, and I don't consider him a proper Australian, a fair-minded Australian. He sees people as foreign because of their heritage. And that is very un-Australian. Very un-Australian.
All right. So that's the clip we've seen on the news and on social media, or a variation of it. But I've gone and sourced the raw footage of the press conference because I couldn't find it anywhere online. So I've gone and sourced it. Now, I'd like to see if some of the claims being made by Bob and Robbie Katter are true. Bob Katter, of course, has made it clear he won't apologise, and Robbie Katter is pushing the narrative that reporter Josh Bavas kept pushing despite being told to stop by all members of Katter's team. Now, before I play the raw footage of this press conference, I want you to have a look at this interview with Robbie Katter on Afternoon Briefing.
You're still saying he's making threats, but you're ignoring the fact that there was provocation there, and then what's the level of that provocation?
It was a question.
You don't know what the issue is.
It was a question.
You don't know what the issue is that's embedded. It was a question, yes, but there's many questions. I can ask you a really intense, deeply personal question
You can.
right now.
I can promise you I will never threaten to punch you if you ask me a deeply personal question.
That's not. No, but that's because if you said don't go there, I'm not going to answer that, I would respectfully back off on that. But that wasn't done in this occasion, and I think we should be able to stand up for ourselves and say at some point that's not acceptable.
I get he's your dad. I get he's your dad, and we all love our parents, or we, probably should.
Well, I'm not defending him because I'm not saying
Isn't
it's
it?
he's
Why?
my dad.
Because it's pretty aggressive behaviour. Don't you just call it out, have a chat with him and say apologise and we move on?
Well, hang on, but you're assuming that he's in the wrong. Like, I'm still not accepting that he has anything to apologise here. If someone's offending you and they're not responding and they keep on the same line of questioning, and repeatedly the three people standing beside him, including myself, said, mate, maybe try another line of questioning. We're not fielding questions on that. You can see that he's getting agitated. And he kept going. Well, at what point is that person responsible for their actions? Because they've got to take some cues as well, and usually that works pretty well, that system, and we respect each other. That wasn't given in that point, and then we're all turning our guns on Dad and saying, you're the provocateur here and you're the person that needs to be answerable. Well, there needs to be some accountability for both parties here.
All right, so the accusation seems to be that Bavas continually baited Bob Katter, kept asking, kept pushing, which led to that threat of violence. So let's go to the videotape. Now, when I show you this, there's a bit of time in between Bob Katter's initial response and then when he went up to Bavas. But I think it's important to see the full context. And just so you know, the pickup point is the first time this question came up. Bavas has not asked Katter about his heritage before this very moment.
If you have anti-Australian sentiments, then get the hell out of my country. Because we are taking the names down now of anyone that treats our flag badly. We're taking their names down. You know, the gloves are coming right off now.
Bob, you've got Lebanese heritage yourself. What would you say?
Oh,
to
mate,
the
don't
election?
say that, because that irritates me.
Haven't you
and I
said that
punch
before,
blokes
though?
in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that.
But haven't
My
you-
family have been in this country for 140 years, right?
You told me once,
and
right?
if you say anything like that, I have, on many occasions, punched blokes in the mouth, right?
But you-
So I'm restraining
you told me
myself
that once,
today.
that-
Don't say it.
You told
But
me
I'm
that
not
though,
listening
Bob.
to you. You're out.
Sorry, Bob. I'm really confused here. What was wrong with that statement?
I don't. I'm not dealing with the subject. I'm an Australian. My family have been here since the dawn of time. That's the end of it. Right? And even if my family had been here 10 minutes, no one has the right to say what he just said. Even if I've been here 10 minutes. I have people that come, Sikhs from India, and they come here and they say, I'm an Australian. This is terrific. And they are really good Australians. Anyone calls them a Sikh, I'll punch them in the mouth.
But on one hand, Bob, you're saying that you don't want that to be indicated, but you're saying that you don't want migrants from certain communities to come to Australia
That is
and
correct.
say they're Australians.
That is
so
correct.
How do you reckon that?
No, they are completely compatible.
But if they get an Australian
No,
citizenship, they are
no.
Australians, right?
No, they don't become Australians. They hate Australians. 92% of the people coming to Australia go to Sydney and Melbourne. That's over the last 12 years. And do you see them mixing with other Australians, dressing like other Australians, being friendly with other Australians, being in the local Lions Club? Do you see that? So you don't want to become Australians, well, we don't want you to become Australians, and we want you to get the hell out of this country. No, mate, I'm sorry you've blotted your copybook. Anyone else?
I haven't blotted my copybook.
No,
I
well, you
haven't
have
even
with me,
finished
right?
the sentence.
You have with
My
me.
sentence
Yeah,
was...
with me, you're out of it. Any
My
other
question
questions?
was, like,
Any other questions?
aren't there other values that, regardless of the country, that there are people who have come here from other countries, like yourselves, like your family,
No, don't say that.
that have good values.
No, listen, just look.
I
Don't
could've-
say that.
I'm sure that you
Don't
said it.
say
I'm
that
sure you said
because
it
you're
to me.
a racist. You're a racist. You cannot say what you just said without being identified as a racist. So, gentlemen, ladies, this man is a racist. Don't listen to him.
Bob,
doesn't he have the freedom to ask
I hadn't even
questions?
finished the question.
No, he doesn't if he asks a racist question, which implies racism. I'm not going to answer it, and I don't consider him a proper Australian, a fair-minded Australian. He sees people as foreign because of their heritage. And that is
I
very
haven't even
Very
finished the
un-Australian.
question, Bob. My question was about people who come here with good values.
Sorry, Robbie, I'm calling BS. Bavas simply tried to defend himself and did nothing wrong. The narrative that you kept telling him to move on and he refused to take cues is just wrong. It's a lie. Robbie Katter, you stood there and didn't say a word. Now that that whole confrontation is out there, I think you need to change your explanation because what you have said simply doesn't pass the pub test. Now, this whole thing is just bizarre. And instead of apologising about a brain snap, both Katters have gone on the attack and blamed the Nine News reporter for continuing to ask the racist line of questioning. Not only is that defamatory, it's wrong. A member of parliament threatened a journalist asking a simple question. And you can say it wasn't a threat, I didn't touch him. He literally had his fists in his face. In my opinion, there hasn't been enough outrage. There is no justification for the behaviour of Bob Katter towards Josh Bavas. And in a show of support for fellow journalists, from now on, every interview with Bob Katter should start like this. Bob Katter, thanks for joining us. When will you apologise to Josh Bavas for your outrageous behaviour towards a member of the press pack? Won't happen, of course, but it would be nice if the Canberra press gang could at least try to hold our politicians to account and support their own. Nine's A Current Affair has been hit with another behind-the-scenes drama, this time a clash between veteran producer Kate Goulopoulos and reporter Georgia Westgarth. According to The Australian, the two women who sit side by side in Nine's Melbourne newsroom got into a heated argument about workload and effort on an upcoming story. Goulopoulos later filed a formal HR complaint. Nine's People and Culture team is now attempting to smooth things over before it escalates further. The latest flare-up follows other recent ACA controversies, including the forced exit of executive producer Amy McCarthy, who stood down after a social media storm during the Logies, and reports that one senior staffer was berating viewers, even emailing one to stop being a narc. Now, while this might seem strange considering what I've just said about the Bob Katter blow-up, I've got to say heated arguments are nothing new in television and can sometimes lead to better results, as long as there's no threat of violence or actual violence, of course, which is what Katter did to that reporter. Now, when I was running Nine's News and Current Affairs promo division, the ACA promo meetings were something to behold. A group of us would look at the stories, often incomplete, and spend the next hour or so coming up with the lines for the overnight promo. You would not believe how much time we spent on them. And yes, those meetings would get very heated as everyone pitched different takes in order to get the best possible result. There was often frustration when people in the room had different ideas, but ultimately the promos were something to behold and worked. They enticed viewers to watch the show. But now I don't know what has taken place between these two people, but I hope they can sort out their differences and keep doing great work. My understanding is both of them are great. Television is ruthless and workers invest their very soul into it. So I do hope this comes to a solution that works for everyone. Now, if you've ever wondered how cooking-based reality TV shows are filmed, Media McKnight can share some inside secrets. On Monday, I spoke with My Kitchen Rules co-host and judge Colin Fassnidge on McKnight Tonight, and I asked him about shooting the instant restaurants and what the process is like, and whether he and Manu had to sit there with the contestants the entire time. What is the shoot process actually like?
It's up to them what you like. Say if you've got a bread course and you've got pasta and you've got an ice cream, like the way we sort of guide them and tell them is like, I'd get your ice cream made first or your bread on proving, so they can get all their big jobs done first and then start the entree, but they can have a few little things done for the main course, you know what I mean? So you can get ahead. So if you're braising, you can get the braise on really early so it's ready by the main course. You'd hope. They don't always listen, which you will see.
Just tell me that if it's a 6-hour shoot, you and Manu don't have to sit there with the contestants the whole time. I reckon that'd be painful.
We pop in and out every, you know. So because I like to make a little meal for the two of us, because you don't know what's ahead of the night. It could be a good night or a bad night. So we have a little meal outside that I cook.
Oh, that you cook up for Manu?
Yes, he never cooks.
Well, I guess that explains why they always leave some on their plate. I also asked Fassnidge what his TV show pitch would be if he could make any show he wanted.
I would be doing a TV show that's cooking with kids and maybe teaching people like how to use food more economically or wiser and give them more tips and teaching the next gen. I think that's what I would like to do.
In fairness, that actually sounds interesting. My Kitchen Rules continues on Channel 7 and 7+. Okay, now for some quick items before we wrap it up. As I exclusively revealed yesterday on the TV Black Box website, 10 Senior Vice President, Content and Programming at Paramount Australia and New Zealand, Dan Monahan, what a mouthful, well, he's leaving the company for a new role at Binge. I can also reveal Monahan's departure comes just weeks after Azam Marashian left the network. She was the Senior Director, Content Acquisitions. That's a loss of some senior people. I wonder who's next. There's a wild claim on social media that Paramount Global, under new ownership, is planning to play Survivor Australia in the US due to its popularity. The tip-off also claims the backlash around the sacking of Jonathan LaPaglia has been noted and is a priority. The site that published this tip has previously been right when it comes to items like this, which is why I mention it. I had to laugh at the introduction by Richard Wilkins this morning on the Today Show when he referred to actress Heather Graham as wholesome.
Look, it's hard to think of a more wholesome Hollywood A-lister than the wonderful Heather Graham, who's been on our screens now for the better part of 4 decades. The Hangover, Boogie Nights, Austin Powers, all wonderful.
Now, look, considering the roles Graham has played over the years, I wouldn't have thought wholesome was the best description, but it did make me laugh, and I genuinely mean no offence to Heather Graham. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. The show streams weekly at 9 p.m. AEST every Tuesday and is available on catch-up at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. I'll be back live tomorrow night with a different take on the news of the day in my home internet streaming show, McKnight Tonight. I hope you can take a look, maybe even leave a comment for me to read out. I'm Rob McKnight. I hope to see you then. Wholesome.